wasn't sure what I was expecting, but, that wasn't necessarily it. Also, for all of you coming to this video expecting a typical reaction video with me looking at footage and doing a whole bunch of, over-the-top immediate reactions, I fooled you! That ain't me, son! Nah, not gonna lie, honestly, I was, considering doing one of those, especially, before I'd seen the trailer, but, yeah, I just don't think I react to trailers in a way that, is going to, appease those kinds of people. So, instead I'm gonna do what I usually do, which is give some sort of more structured thoughts. I'm here in my jams, in my Mario jams. But, you don't care about that. You care about Avengers 4, now officially titled Avengers Endgame. Which, honestly, any title was probably going to be a bit of a letdown in regards to all of the sort of hints that we'd been given, both officially and unofficially. Like, the Russos letting us know that the title was going to be devastating or something to that effect. The idea that the title was a spoiler for Infinity War. I believe I'd heard somewhere that the title was going to be Avengers plus 3 words, and that made me assume Earth's Mightiest Heroes. Not gonna lie, I'd still have preferred that title personally. But whatever, who cares? It's a title, Avengers Endgame. We're in it now.
We're in the Endgame now.
And this trailer doesn't really give us all that much, and I, for one, am frankly happy for that. I would be happy if this was the only trailer that we got. Of course, I would also be happy if we got, like, a bajillion more trailers, because I'm a crazy person. May or may not be crazy enough to watch the Far From Home trailer when it drops, because that is a genuine pickle that I could make a whole other video about. But as far as the contents of this trailer goes, it's a very brief, sort of dour look. A lot of people are kind of worried, or, yeah, I guess worried about this trailer coming off too dark. Some people are worried that the Avengers are finally going to get grimdark. Some people are accusing this of being like a DC movie. Surprisingly, mostly DC movie fans? Yeah, I was surprised to learn that those still exist too. But personally, I'm not worried about this movie getting too dour. It's really a fine line, a sort of tightrope that they have to walk, because I know a lot of people who said that they thought Infinity War was too dark. A lot of people said they didn't think it was dark enough. And Marvel's trying, you guys. The Russo brothers are really, really experts at balancing tone. I think they proved that with Winter Soldier and Civil War and Infinity War. They really try to make these movies as serious as they can possibly be, while also not alienating a general audience who comes to these movies to have fun. And that is way more difficult of a task than I think anyone assumes it is. With that said, I think this movie is naturally going to be even darker and more dour than Infinity War. It's what I'm expecting. It's what I think we all should have expected coming off the end of that film. And the trailer does end with Scott Lang being Scott, so we know that levity is going to exist. Some people think Scott is a Skrull. I don't think it's likely. It's an interesting possibility, but what's the one tweet that said, it's not possible for a Skrull to duplicate a genuine Scott Lang level of idiocy? No offense, Scott, I love you, but yeah, I don't think that's a Skrull. I think Scott's going to get himself out of the quantum realm somehow. Spoilers for Ant-Man and the Wasp, by the way. I apologize. Oh, geez, should I put a spoiler warning in front of this? Hey, me in the past, can you put, like, a spoiler warning in front of this video? Got you covered, dude. Thanks. Anyway, yeah, so we end the trailer with Scott, but we begin it with Tony, who is in a ship. A lot of people assume alone. I'm still presuming with Nebula. And it's a solid minute of just Tony alone, leaving a last message for Pepper under the assumption that he's going to die. And people are already making tons of theories. I've heard it theorized, like, we open the movie here, and Tony looks up, and he's rescued by Captain Marvel, and that's when the Avengers logo pops up, and everyone cheers. And that seems entirely possible. But I don't know. It's that followed by just all of the remaining characters on Earth sort of dealing with the fact that all of this happened. We get a couple of shots at Thanos. We do the Scarecrow thing from the comics with his armor, which I appreciate a lot. But yeah, for the most part, it's our characters sitting around miserable in the consequence of the last movie, which is really, I feel like a lot of thought went into crafting this trailer. Some of the trailers for these movies can be, if not bad, then careless. You can tell that this was not a careless product. This was a very finely crafted trailer to give us really all that we need to know, which is that the movie's coming, it sets the tone, we know the headspace that the characters are in for the most part. There are some characters who we left off with still alive at the end of the last movie who don't show up here. There's no Okoye, no M'Baku, no Rocket, and no Rhodes. So it'll be interesting to see if any other promotional material comes out that features those characters. But really, I don't know. I'm expecting this movie to be less action-driven than Infinity War was. And it's not just because there are 0 action shots in this trailer. Just knowing what I know about Kevin Feige and the Russos and their approach to storytelling, I wouldn't be surprised if they felt like no pressure to top the spectacle that was Infinity War. Not to say that Infinity War was purely a spectacle-driven movie. That's a movie with a lot of thematic heft and a lot of narrative depth and character exploration going on, particularly of Thanos. But I feel like for the rest of the characters, for the larger cast, the Avengers as a whole, I think Endgame is going to be much less action movie, much more character piece. I think we're going to get our big set pieces, of course, because every Marvel movie has to have those, but I think a lot of this movie is going to feel like this trailer does, with characters hanging around talking. Which would actually be a nice bookends, because that is a lot of what the first Avengers film was. That movie had its huge action set pieces, particularly toward the end, but 2/3 of it was characters in a room talking, and that was just as exciting. And I expect that to kind of be what this movie is. Hawkeye's back, Ronan's back, and the way that we position his part in the trailer under Steve talking about the loss of loved ones makes me think, yeah, Clint definitely lost his family in the snap. Or in the decimation, I guess, is what they're calling it, even though it's not technically accurate. The Master from Doctor Who remains the only fictional character I've seen use the word decimate correctly.
That sounds good. Nice word. Decimate.
Remove 1/10 of the population.
But they're all grieving. I'm not gonna get too harsh on them for grammar. But yeah, that's generally just my thoughts. I was always really excited for this movie, but now I'm starting to think about it a bit differently, where I'm possibly even more excited at the prospect of this movie as not primarily another, or at least not selling itself as primarily another big, giant action movie. And I wonder if some of the people who didn't think that Infinity War had that depth, or thought that Infinity War was too much sound and fury, I wonder if Avengers 4 comes out and it's the movie that those people wanted? I don't know, I'm really interested to see where this goes, and I'm really excited, and I hope that you are as well. And if you are, or aren't, I hope that you can voice that in the comments of this video. Sorry for tricking you with that title. But, hey, I took my rule book from the Russos, so blame them.